Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subject, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the DC fan page where you can take a look at plot synopsis and characters that are in this. So we are going to be looking at World's Finest, number 175 from 1968. So I decided I'm going to do some classic Batman stories. This era is not my cup of tea. Marvel 60s is pretty cool. DC 60s was kind of goofy. But there's something in here in particular that I want to share with you. Now, I do not own this original issue, but I do have the Batman Neal Adams. I bought I think there were 4 volumes or 3 volumes. The neat thing about this is Neal Adams' very first work on Batman. As you all know, Neal Adams is defined by some classic Batman stories in the 70s. But before we get to the 70s, we have to go through the 60s. This is the late 60s. Nonetheless, it's a different kind of story. But we're going to power through it together. So, all right. The main important thing that I want to show you is Neal Adams' beautiful art even early on. So, World's Finest was basically Batman Superman before Batman Superman ended up being a title. So we got here some Batmans yelling, "Go, Batman, go! Come on, creep! You've got to figure your way out of that gas chamber." Or Superman picks up all the marbles, and then these weird-looking Superman are saying, "Ha ha! The monitor screen shows our guy Superman is winning the duel of wits, but win or lose, both of these crumbs will win a tombstone." So, it's the 60s. We gotta take this. DC in the 60s was different. It was definitely Marvel in the 60s. Like I said, Marvel in the 60s was cool. DC in the 60s, not so much. And even Neal Adams, early Neal Adams, which is better than a lot of stuff, did the best he could. But it will find DC does get better. Batman will get better. But the 50s and 60s were not kind to Batman and Superman or DC Comics in general. So, once again, Superman and Batman meet in their annual duel of wits. Which crime fighter will be champ this year? Ask those mysterious characters in a cape and cowl and that ominous crew in Superman costumes. They plan for both heroes to be losers when they collect the perilous prizes prepared by the Superman-Batman Revenge Squads. So, all right. One night in a railroad graveyard near Metropolis. So, this gentleman here thinks he's talking to himself. There's the place now. There's the place now. The deserted roadhouse. I'd better hurry. I want to be there when the action starts. Soon at the roundhouse door, a weird ritual. Who comes? Like a Batman computer kind of thing, I would say. A friend. Advance, friend, and give the sign. A pleasure. Takes the sign. In the next macabre moment. Die, Batman, die. The knife thrust triggers a hidden mechanism, and the door slides open. Welcome, friend. Line up with the others to state your qualifications for joining our brotherhood. And so, there's the head man. He's got to accept me. He's got to. All right, you know, we kind of sometimes with comic books we just have to roll along with it, kind of like professional wrestling. So one by one the applicants speak. I'm Cash Carew. Carew? I just broke prison. I was the country's best counterfeiter. Then that skunk Batman nabbed me. I'm Barney the Blast. I was booby trapping the Batmobile when a safety device triggered my bomb prematurely and I lost my hand. This the guy in the middle. I'm the flamethrower. I used my sideshow stunts for underworld arson jobs until Batman sent me up the river. That is. So, this guy here. Yes, we all have scores to settle with that crime fighting Fink. That's why we're organizing the Batman Revenge Squad. All in favor of joining, say aye, and everybody says aye. Count me in. I'm with you. Um, like I said, we just sometimes got to roll with it. We've already prepared a special Revenge Squad uniforms like Batman, only different colors. And look at that insignia. Wow, I can't wait to put it on. So, then, dressed in their new costumes. And now let us salute our new squad banner. Recite the slogan after me. Die, Batman, die. And then they all go, die, Batman, die. Actually, the purple is kind of cool. So now, we get here. But alert eyes are watching from a soaring spaceship. This bald guy talks to the other bald guy. They both look like Lex Luthor. So, do those idiots really think they can get away with it? Why worry? Mere Earthmen can't interfere in our plans. And so, we cannot afford to risk failure. Switch to alternate plan 6. I'll activate the materializer circuits and we'll teleport ourselves to the anti-Batman squad's headquarters. So, seconds later, I think they're screaming, "Yee, it's Superman!" Zam! A couple of Supermen. We must be seeing double. Oh, our squad's gonna get clobbered even before we get our plan off the grounds. And so this guy here says, "Guess again, oafs. We're the Superman Revenge Squad. Criminals from hundreds of planets and sworn foes of Superman. So why are you wearing copies of his super costume?" They aren't quite the same. Take a look at this symbol. I dig it. It glows green, like green kryptonite, which can kill Superman. Right. We spotted your meeting on our monitors, and we came here to help. After all, you're just amateurs. We've been scheming against Superman ever since he was a boy. Sure, you've tried to kill him dozens of times and always fell flat on your faces, yet you sad sacks want to help us? Fool! This is just great. I suggest you read this newspaper. I'm teleporting from a newsstand in Gotham City. Have you forgotten their annual contest is scheduled for next week? Contest, a lot of us have been in the pen, meaning the penitentiary, which means jail, or on the lam. Better fill us in. Oh, this is just awesome. So again, it's the 60s, folks. DC 60s, just different take. For the past few years, Batman and Superman have set aside a special day on which the Superman Jimmy Olsen crime team matches its crime fighting techniques with the Batman Robin duo. As a sporting gesture, the teams wagered on the results of the duels. Sometimes Superman and Olsen were victorious. And here, Jimmy Olsen's Batman's boots. Ah, poor Batman was a chump. I bet his boots again. Our team that year, Superman. So, man, you can see here on this face that classic Neal Adams. Look how beautiful that image is. So, but Batman and Robin won their share of bets. Imagine Superman losing his cape in our annual caper. Haha. Robin, you're a great crime fighter, but a miserable punster. So, we have a plan to use this year's contest to knock off both Batman and Superman. So, this other guy goes, "You're dreaming both teams will be in top form for the competition. We won't have a prayer. You amateurs underestimate us. You see, they have changed the rules this year. Listen closely, and I'll tell you how we can use the new rules to exterminate Superman and Batman. This is the setup." So, here's the helicopter kind of coming down. The next day, as the autopiloted Batcopter hovers over Gotham City Police headquarters, and Robin thinks, "Gosh, this is the first contest Jimmy and I won't be in on. This it's to be strictly a duel of wits between Batman and Superman." And so, hi, Officer Lewis. Batman asked me to deliver these trophies to Commissioner Gordon. So, soon, you'll hold the stakes this year's Commissioner. Batman is wagering his miniature crime clue computer. Oh my goodness. And his infrared bat specs, which give him night vision. And this muscle amplifier, which multiplies a man's strength 1,000-fold. Oh my goodness. And so here comes Jimmy. "I'm using an anti-gravity feather cloak from a bird world of Aviar. Jimmy, what's with you?" Oh, okay, sorry. This way, up. So, just then, it's Jimmy Olsen, Superman's pal. "Jimmy, what's with you flying this flying bit? You don't have superpower." So now we get to that flying cloak. All right. And this, so I think we're supposed to read from here to up. "It's one of the trophies Superman is wagering, along with this intelligence expander from the Sebron galaxy and the model combat machine from the gladiator planet Tsar. This should be a great duel. A pity you boys won't share in the action." But as Jimmy leaves, "Olsen, watch. You little creep, I've been waiting for you." So this guy's coming toward Jimmy. So, acting quickly, Jimmy uses judo. "I don't know who this character is, but nobody's using me for target practice." So he flips him. Again, you're starting to see Neal Adams even early on. Pretty cool. As the brief battle ends, "What was that all about? I never saw that cook before. Of all the rotten luck, he damaged the emergency signal watch that Superman gave me." They're using language that was prevalent back then, and I know a little bit of it, but it's kind of funny. It just so you can definitely tell where you're reading this. "We'll hold him for investigation, Olsen. At least his scheme didn't succeed." So later on, "That's what you think, Commissioner." Minutes later, in a detention cell. And so they fell for it. Everything's going exactly as planned. What is this conniving crook up to? I'm sure you guys can just see that silliness, but that is, in a way, what makes this kind of cool. It's just different. You look at modern comic books now, and there's just a funness to it. It's just when you read Marvel, DC just seemed like it was for little kids. Marvel just seemed that it was for kids and grown-ups. And I think that was DC's downfall. But then the 80s, the 70s, they kind of started waking up, but then came the 80s, and Frank Miller and Watchmen just became DC became more of the, they finally caught up and became even more with adults only titles, whereas Marvel still compelled to both. But I mean, DC started Vertigo, immature readers line. So all right. The next day, as the annual Duel of Wits begins, So Commissioner Gordon here, who looks so different than what we're used to. This will be a 3 day competition. Each day, each hero will have to solve a super problem given to him by his opponents. At the day's end, the winner will choose one of the trophies wagered by the loser. Superman says, let's shake hands," and Batman says, "and come out slugging." So, the mental mayhem gets underway in round one of the Duel of Wits in part two. So, all right. So part two, victor. To the victor comes death. So again, I the reason I chose this is just Neal Adams, and we're going to be covering a lot of Neal Adams on. I want to share some classic Batman stories from Neal Adams, Jim Aparo, Marshall Rogers, adventures from the 70s. And I thought about starting with the Ra's al Ghul stuff and Batman 250 and all that. But I said, let's start with Neal Adams, although in the beginning. I just want to show some really cool Neal Adams. And so sometimes you got to start in the beginning. So, all right. So Superman here. Our contest begins. I set up your first brain twister in that unbreakable glass chamber here in the basement of police headquarters. Fair warning, there's an element of danger. And so Batman says, "Think I'll chicken out, eh?" It's just listening to how the Superman and Batman sort of talk. Man, it's sure different, but all right. So the next panel. Within the room. When I close the door, a jet of illuminating gas will be released from that vent. You have 5 minutes to stop those fumes from you have 5 minutes to stop those fumes before you black out. And you're not allowed to use your bat weapons. You sure know how to stump a guy, Batman says. Okay. As the door is sealed, there comes the gas. You can see it there in the green. Batman says, "The gas is pouring in. How do I reach the vent? It's too high to jump, and the glass walls are too slick to climb." Before I move again, let's on this panel here look at how Neal Adams, just a perspective from below, looking up. So you can definitely see, even early on, Neal Adams was going to be an incredible artist. Batman takes out something from the bat belt. "Wait, I just had a brainstorm. Let's see. I have some matches and a piece of paper in my utility belt." So, folding the paper into an airplane, Batman sets a fire, and it's no batarang, but it'll do, as Batman aims it to them. And so, Superman thinks, "Can you tie that?" He used the burning paper airplane to set fire to the gas, thus burning the fumes. Superman should have used something that is not flammable. So, real quick here, I really like this. You can just see so much of what's going to happen. So, presently, all right, score 1 for Batman. Now it's his turn to set up a problem for Superman to solve, says Jimmy. "Brother, wait till Superman sees the dilly Batman has lined up for him." So, great figure of Superman flying. So, later, far out to sea. And so Batman speaks. "There it is, pal. The obsolete tanker I bought as millionaire Bruce Wayne. You'll find your problem waiting for you on board." And so Superman thinks that vessel is anchored hundreds of miles from the nearest shipping lanes. Why? He wonders. So, shortly on the ship. So Batman speaks. Here are three devices known for the noise they make. Without using your superpowers, detect which one will make the loudest sound and then activate it 1 hour from now. I'll return to see how you make out. So, Superman thinks a bell, a whistle, and a cannon. This shouldn't be too tough. And then Batman leaves. Jimmy gave me his emergency watch to repair. It's fixed, so I'll use it to keep an eye on the time. Batman's problems may not be as easy to solve as it looks. So, but at last. So, let's see now. The vessel is far from all the shipping lanes, and Batman told me to wait for 1 hour before activating the loudest sound making device. Yes, it all adds up. This is the baby. I'll slam the whistle with my fist. Oh my goodness, the way he speaks. I love the kind of curlyish hair. So, all right. So, seconds later on a distant island, as you see that. Boom. And so, wow, Superman really blew the whistle on you, Batman. He activated the device that contained a concealed atom bomb. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, all right. An atom bomb. I'm telling you, it was a different time. It was just a different time. God, that is funny. All right. His indestructible body unscratched by the multi-megaton blast, Superman rejoins the others. Oh my God, the radiation. This is just. Sure, you didn't use your superpowers to detect which device contained a nuclear bomb. And Superman says, I stuck to the rules, Batman. It was Jimmy's signal watch that tipped me off. I'm afraid it didn't survive the big boom. The atom bomb. I am just. All right. I was checking the time when I noticed a peculiar sound. I forgot Jimmy's watch is also a radiation detector. That rapid ticking indicated a steam whistle is covering up an atom bomb which contains radioactive uranium. An A bomb would make the loudest sound of all. Just, oh my God. All right, later in the commissioner's office. Round 1 is over, Commissioner. We've tied at 1 victory apiece, so neither of us wins a trophy. Running neck and neck, maybe it'll be a different picture tomorrow, says the Commissioner. Meanwhile, the 2 revenge squads are watching by monitor. The Batman one says, some surefire scheme. How are we going to knock off those crime-fighting creeps if neither wins a trophy? The Superman bad guy says, relax. Wait till tomorrow. Our plans can't miss. So, that night in Gotham City, the cops didn't guess that I attacked Olsen, so that they'd lock me up in police headquarters. Now that I've picked the lock on the cell, I can sneak into Commissioner's office on the next floor. Thus, stealing furtive into Gordon's office, the Hood uses a secret magnetic device to open the vault containing the trophies. I like how they just, yeah, why not? First I yank off the special buttons from my suit, then do my job and slip back to my cell. They'll make me head of the revenge squad for this, he thinks. So, again, I know the story is corny, but we're here for the Neal Adams, so. All right. The next day, unaware of the dirty work afoot, the 2 heroes resume their duel. So, Superman says, here's your next puzzle. Batman, just cross to that other skyscraper by walking one of these cables. But remember, only one is strong enough to hold you. Take your pick, pal. All right. And he says, thanks a bunch, buddy. All right. So, Batman thinks. Let's see. The cables are swinging in the breeze, but that middle one is swinging less than the others two. Therefore, it's probably made of a heavier material. The center cable must be the safe one. I'll try it. So, seconds later, in the Revenge Squad's headquarters, he picked the right cable. Go, Batman, go. Our man wins the event. Why should these creeps cheer for a man they hate? Thinks the Superman bad guy here. But just then, no, we of the Superman Revenge Squad want our man to win. I'll aim my remote control dissolver ray at the cable. So the other guy says, hey, so apparently it's also um, goes through. At that instant, an invisible ray slices through Batman's lifeline. Oh, looks like I guessed wrong. I shouldn't have tried the aerial act without a net, he thinks. Can you imagine this going on today with these two? All right. Um, but the Metropolis Marvel is on the alert, and uh, so Superman catches Batman. Thanks, Superman, but my pit and grappler wasn't going to let me hit the road this soon. Have Batman or Superman says, "Have you been taking for lessons from Robin?" And Superman thinks, "Strange. I'd have sworn he chose the right cable, but how? But I don't know how I got him mixed up." So back in the Revenge Squad's lair, you rat! Batman had it made, and you meddled with the dissolver ray. And so, quiet. Our Revenge Squad is more important than yours. Our enemy Superman must win today's trophy. We'll see about that. All right. Meanwhile, the doom resumes at the army proving grounds. So, Batman says, "There's your next problem, Superman. One of these bullseyes is a genuine army target. The other is a phony, triggered to explode on impact. Without using your vision powers, pick the real army target and fire yourself at will." So he's got 50-50 chance. Should have made it tougher, Batman. So, all right. All the other targets I've seen on the proving grounds have 8 centric rings, but the one on the right has 7, so it must be the phony. I have to launch myself at the bullseye on the left. But the Batman Revenge Squad is watching. Oh my god. Superman is heading for the correct target. We can't let him win. I'll activate this teleport missile gimmick the Superman Revengers gave us. It'll split into 2 warheads, one to blow up each target. Oh my goodness gracious. This is why I hardly ever read comic books from the 60s, DC in particular. It's just the silliness of it. Again, not so much with Marvel, but boy, my goodness gracious. But comic books, particularly DC Comics, was about to grow up because Neal Adams was about to completely him and Denny O'Neil were about to just really make Batman into a more mature type superhero, and a lot of the stuff that we love about Batman today, we owe it to Neal Adams and Denny O'Neil. Others continued, Archie Goodwin, Marshall Rogers, Jim Aparo, writers like Steve Englehart and Marv Wolfman. So, all right, Batman thinks I could swear Superman hit the real target, but only the phony one was supposed to explode. Both targets were blasted apart, so I'll never know if I goofed or not. So, our teleport missile split and shattered both targets. Now they don't know which one was phony, so Superman doesn't win today's trophy. So, you fool, all our scheming was wasted. Now we must wait till tomorrow. All right. Later in Commissioner Gordon's office, here comes the Flash. Since today's competition was a standoff, no one wins the trophy. Tomorrow will be your last chance. Batman says, "Hold it, Commissioner. It's our Justice League buddy, the Flash. This must be important." My God. Our Justice League buddy. All right. As the Flash reports, "Call your duel off. The sanctuary is being menaced by a mysterious foe. All members must bring their latest security devices to an emergency meeting. We couldn't risk using our signalers for fear they'd be intercepted. Batman and I will stop at our bases first," Superman says. Oh, wait. Since this year's Duel of Wiz ends in a tie, each contestant should pick one of his competitor's trophy as a memento. Fine, I'll let Jimmy pick my trophy and Robin can pick Batman's. At the Revenge Squad's lair. What a break. Those saps will both take trophies back to their headquarters. Ha ha ha. They don't know that the Trigger Man who attacked Olsen was a plant. He booby-trapped all those trophies with devices in his suit buttons. Okay, so real quick. That means Batman would have taken one, but then Superman would have taken, because you only picked one. So, what? I'm telling you, this writing of back then. Oh, goodness gracious. Look at that. At the 0 hour, this remote control gimmick will activate a hidden bomb in the Superman trophy he won that will destroy Batman at his Batcave, and our device will trigger a double action blast that will wipe out Superman and his fortress. Shutting off their monitors, the Revenge Squads start a grim lottery. I drew the bat symbol. I win the honor of pressing the trigger that kills Batman. And the other guy here is, I get the glory of killing Superman. And these guys are like, lucky stiffs. Soon. Attention, the monitor's tracker beams indicate that both our enemies have entered their headquarters. Activate the view screens. Instant later. Fire. 1, 2. Yahoo! There goes Batman. Goodbye, Superman. One explosion ripped the lead sheath off a button-shaped chunk of gold kryptonite, which erased Superman's power. The other blast is finishing him. So, but even before the cheering dies away, we're sunk. It's Superman and Batman. The other guy, but we saw them die. That's why they wanted you creeps to think, says Jimmy Olsen. Right. We got wise to your miserable scheme in time. So, when Robin and I picked the trophies for Batman and Superman, so Jimmy chose the super strength multiplier as Superman's memento. Please let me try it one last time. Sure, Robin, and just for laughs, I'll let you belt me in the solar plexus. So, the controls are out of whack. I missed Superman and smashed through the wall. We better check the circuits, Jimmy says. And so, then we examine the controls. Stand back, Superman. The multiplier failed because it was booby-trapped with gold kryptonites, which can erase your powers. Then you'd be sitting duck for a second gadget, an electronic mini-bomb. When we checked the other trophies, every trophy was booby-trapped to kill either Batman or Superman. If we could only find who planned this murder scheme. The weapons were designed to be triggered by remote control electronic waves. We can use them. We rigged up fake traps of our own with fake gold K, and later. Our scheme worked. They blew up your dummy instead of you. And my direction finder's tracing the signal which triggered the blast. Let's go. So, there... Oh my goodness gracious. If it wasn't for Neal Adams, trust me, we would not be looking at this. But I didn't know but it's alright. It's alright. After we trace the beam to its origin, we'll pick up Batman and Robin. Then we can close in for the showdown. And as Jimmy ends his story. Well, that wraps it up, boys, but don't get discouraged. The Superman Revengers will have years in space prison to plan some rotten scheme while the Batman squad has to settle for an ordinary Earth Husgao, but your weapons will be safe in our trophy collections. The end. So, all right, people. Um, Again, I want to get to the more mature stories, but thought, you know, why not start, like I said, with Neal Adams in the beginning. Again, some of the tropes were there, not quite, but it'll definitely get better. Anyway, um, thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.